Guys, I'm Dylan. This is going to be the first video on my channel where I take you through my experiences learning how to hunt. I wish I started this channel a few years ago because this is going to be going into my 4th season hunting whitetail deer. I've learned a lot already. I still have a lot to learn though. I got my first deer last year, which was a doe. I missed a couple big bucks because I wasn't as proficient as I'd like to be with my archery. Target panic issues and whatnot, and so we're still after that big buck and still learning the process, and like I said, we're getting better. So let's just take you through my gear. I'm going to show you what I use, why I use it, and maybe a few things where I got it or where I learned how to use it or develop it. So I guess I'll start with my bow. So this is my bow that I'm using this year. This is a VXR 28. It did a few things to it this year. So we got an HHA Tetra Max sight on there, Rise edition. So it's got the 2 pins. It's got one for, I'll probably leave at my 20 yards, and then it's got another pin, which is 15 yards out. So I'll have a 20 and 35. So if anything's at 20, I got a good pin. And if it's at 35, I got a good pin, and I will, I can split the middle if I don't feel like adjusting the dial on the fly. I got these Pine Ridge Archery Nitro buttons, which are pretty sweet. It quiets the bow down a lot as opposed to your traditional speed knock. Got NutriStrings, which were custom made at Critters Sports here in Wurkkos County, Wisconsin. I modded out my Hamskea Trinity with their new vibration dampener. I also put some BCY 24 string loop material on there with a Prusik knot. That way I can adjust this in the field without a tool if I need to. It's a lot more stable platform without the spring, which can stretch. I got some new stabilizer mounts and stuff, but this is the bow that I will be taking to the woods this year. I think that after this season, I'm gonna get a new Mathews because I like the center lock technology. Because what happens with this heavy HHA sight is that I gotta put a lot of extra weight on this side to balance it out at full draw. So I'm looking forward to using that center lock technology where you put the sight in the middle of the riser here, and you can trim down some of the weight here because it'll put the balance more in the middle of the bow. I also use a tight spot quiver. Mathews makes some great quivers. The reason I use this though is because when I put this thing on and I rock 3 arrows in there, that's all I feel like I'll need, and I leave this section blank, and that way I can use that as a handle. That's why I love the tight spot, because I don't like to use an arrows, a bow sling or anything like that. The bow slings seem cumbersome to me and they don't really do the job effectively, but I do really love using that tight spot quiver as a handle when I carry this thing into the woods. Now that I've shown my bow, I'm gonna show you guys some of my mobile hunting setup, why I use it, why I take it into the woods. Some new stuff this year, some stuff that I've used for a while. I love these totes. They're from Browning. I got them at Fleet Farm. I keep everything in here ready to go for the season that I'm hunting in. That way when I go hunting, I can just grab these totes, load them into the van, and go. They've got a gasket around them, so they keep everything in there airtight. I'm not huge on scent control, but I do like to keep everything as scent free as possible. Just to give myself a better chance. I feel like, from what I've heard, is that deer, they're gonna smell you regardless of what you try and do scent control wise. But if you reduce your scent enough, you got a better chance of them thinking it's old human scent and not fresh human scent. This knife I bring with me. This is my everyday carry. This is a Benchmade Mini Bugout with carbon fiber scales and S30V steel. A really nice knife, just handy pocket knife. Also, this thing can probably gut a deer if I need to in a pinch, because I don't bring my kill kit with me into the woods. I bring that after, but if I needed to on a hot day, remove the guts from a deer, I could use this if I needed to. This is the backpack I'm going to be running this year. This is the K.Y.S.S pack from TX5 Custom Gear. It's designed for mobile hunting. I had them add these extra strap adjusters, which are nice. They help me get the straps on my back where I want them. Stock they came a little short for me, but he made these so that I can adjust these straps out wherever I want. Battery charger, My Charge Adventure series. This thing is great. I've ran out of batteries a few times in the woods and while scouting. I got lost really bad when scouting when my phone ran out of batteries. I had no idea where I was going, so I was in the woods for like 3 hours until I hit a road. So I always carry one of these with me now. This is a little saw that I got this year. My last year one was pretty big. This is a little mini saw from Huiman, so I can trim a couple branches if I need to. And it's really portable. Let me go through my saddle and I'll show you how I wear everything and stack everything in the woods. This is my saddle that I'll be running this year. This is a Minimalist 2.0 from TX5 Custom Gear again. So this thing is super nice and super small. It might not be as more comfortable as some of your other saddles, but I'm really trying to focus on, you know, really being as minimal as possible going into the woods this year. So I mean, it really packs down almost to the size of a belt. And then I'll keep my ropes and everything in my bag and then clip them on, because this can clip on after I get to the tree. So I can clip my ropes on after I get to the tree. Like so. Then I'm ready to go with my ropes and everything. But anyway, so when I get to the tree, take my bridge out. There's two little bands right here. Boom, boom, deploy the saddle. I'm ready to hunt. In here I got my back band, also from TX5. I love how they got this set up. So you got a little strap in the center that clips to your carabiner, and then the side straps really gets these parts out of your way for when you're trying to shoot. I went from some larger ropes and rope minisenders to these 8mm, I believe they are Rescue Tech ropes this year, and a Kong duck ascender with a carabiner from Kong carabiner from Eastern Woods Outdoors, which I put a little bit of stealth strip on there to quiet it down. Saves a lot of room, you know, when we're going into the woods. My other ones were larger, I believe 11mm ropes with a rope minisender and a carabiner that I didn't like the way the carabiner locked in there, for one thing. It's a lot, you know, it's not a ton bigger, but I mean, I feel like it's a little bulkier than this. This one's a little longer than this too, granted. So we're gonna give that a shot this year. I've got my...
So you're downsizing from last year pretty much?
Yep, exactly. I'm trying to go a little bit more lighter, more minimal. So I have an easier time moving around the woods. It might give me a little less comfort in the tree, but I'm gonna sacrifice that for a little bit more mobility in the woods. So this is one of these is my tether, one is my linesman. This is my gear strap, which I hang my gear from on the tree. So this is the K.Y.S.S strap, I believe it is, from Tethered. And this right here is a bow hanger from Genesis 3D printing, which is this is great. I love this bow hanger. I put a little stealth strip on there, and then I also did a little shrink tubing on the end, so that when I'm pulling that bow off, I usually hang it by the cam or the limb. When I'm pulling that off, it comes off super quiet. I had issues with the last setup I was using with noise, so this really quiets all that down. That's it for the stuff that I use to take up into the tree along with my saddle. It all fits into this little pouch, and like I said, clips really nicely onto the saddle here. I also use this little 3D printed hook too from Genesis 3D printing to hang my tethered platform from and my sticks while I'm climbing the tree. So it hangs my platform on there really nice for climbing up the tree. This is my Predator platform. I had this modded out a little bit, so a neighboring business to my business, they do powder coating. So I had them powder coat this custom for me, so it's powder coated black. This bar is matte black, and this has got a textured grip powder coat, so it's like almost like grip tape on a skateboard. So it's really stable still when wet. I put a little stealth strip here, and I also stealth stripped out the bar. Anyways, I run this with daisy chain. I really like daisy chains. They're super easy. A lot of people are using trucker hitches or other am steel attachments methods right now, but I really love the daisy chain. You know, I get the perfect size daisy chains to fit on all my Versa buttons so that it's really secure when I lock this onto the tree. And then we got these nice little attachment ends that I also get from Real Deal Am Steel, who I get these daisy chains made from as well. Great way to lock that on. My sticks, I'm running beast sticks, 4 beast sticks minis that I modded out in a few ways. I put silver paint marker in between the little gaps in the steps, because then I can see that at night. It reflects really well, and I can see that when I'm coming down from the tree. I've got the locking bar from Hunting Beast as well, which I modded out with a little bit of shrink tube to make it quieter when I'm putting that inside the sticks to lock them down. My sticks I've modded out with stealth strips as well, cabelators from Eastern Woods Outdoors, which give me an extra step on these, and then daisy chains as well. I also put a little piece of paracord on the top, which I can use to hook on my hook right there on my saddle for getting up the tree, so I can climb up with a couple of these on. Great sticks, I love these. I might try out one sticking next year. For me right now, it's I'm still loving these, and you know, I feel like those sticks are great maybe for early season or for this mobile hunting, like being a little bit more mobile. I feel like, you know, I'm just afraid that they might cause a little extra noise and commotion getting up in the tree, and also that the way that I hunt, I like to go find a spot and I like to hunt it at night. Then I'll leave my stuff set up and I will hunt that same spot in the morning so that it's super quiet with me getting up in the tree, because I still have all my sticks and platforms set up. So I don't have to worry about all that extra noise from setting up early in the morning. And I've had some success doing that. You know, I've caught some bucks slipping back into their bedding area after being out in the field because I got in there super quiet and was able to get up in the tree without causing any awareness. The way I pack everything up when I'm going to the woods, I will have my ropes in here, maybe an extra layer, and then put my kill kit in there for fill this up a little bit. My sticks, my platform, clip right on here. This is adjustable, the sticks, there we go. So then everything clips really nicely onto this pack. I really love this pack for that. And then I still have these bottom compression straps down here for putting an extra layer, like my bibs or my jacket. You know, I'll have that down here, and I have some more room inside the pack. Last year I had a really big backpack and was taking a lot of shit to the woods. Packed my saddle in. This year I'm trying to wear my saddle in. Draw out my binos like this. Maybe have my milkweed pouch for checking my wind. Also from TX5 Custom Gear right here, so I can grab milkweed as I go. My binos right here. Trying a different bino harness this year. I actually made this bino harness a few days ago with some paracord. I just looped it through. The end knots are right here, so theoretically this is adjustable by pulling on these end knots. It'll shorten up these loops. Then I use some little Night Ties mini S-beaners here to attach them. I've used every kind of bino harness that they make. You know, I've got this Alaskan Guide products with Kafaru, or actually this is Mystery Ranch rangefinder pouch. This is just too cumbersome for me. You know, I don't like having all this shit strapped to my chest. I like this because it keeps my binos tucked right nicely onto my side. They don't move, they don't jostle, they're there. So this is how I go into the woods. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is this is how I get my stuff up in the tree. So this is from Genesis 3D printing as well. This is a nice haul line. So this is like Dyneema. I also have the one for the Mathews that has it's the Mathew Silent Connect system. But this seems a little lighter to me. The other cord was super heavy and took up a lot of room. This one doesn't as much. This is the stock cord that it comes with. And so I fit this to hang on right here to my Silent Connect system on my Mathews. This little loop goes right there. This part clips onto my backpack, onto this molly, and this thing will walk as I go up the tree. It'll hang right on my backpack, and it'll only give out cord as I go up the tree. So everything will stay here on the ground. This will go up to hunting height, and then I can pull my bow up after I get up there. And I used this last season just with a different cord. I used the parachute cord that comes with the Mathew Silent Connect system. But this thing works great. I have a thermocell that I use as well, which is great for mosquitoes. This is just a little mosquito face covering because I hunt some pretty dense swamp. So if you don't have everything covered, even with a thermocell in some of the areas that I hunt, you will get bothered pretty hard, almost to the point of wanting to leave. Some other stuff I like to take with me on hunts. Maybe not all this goes into the woods with me on every hunt, but let me just get my kill kit out of here. I want to show that as well. Rattling antlers. I like these as opposed to bone rattling antlers. I've tried bone ones before where they sound a lot better than these. These sound good enough, but these are small, you know what I mean? Like I said, I missed both of them because I wasn't that proficient with my archery. You know, it was my first experience getting an animal in bow range, and you know, I just whizzed one right by it, right in front of its face. So these are great. This is all my early season Sitka. I'll go through this stuff maybe in another video, and then maybe another video with my bow tuning equipment and stuff like that. I will highlight this piece of gear real quick. This isn't even available. If you can get one online, get it. This is a Sitka shacket. This is a great insulating piece. I use this in conjunction with a Stratus mid-late season, and I use this as an outer layer in the early season. I love this piece of gear right here. I carry extra broadheads. This is a nice little container from Easton. Keeps all my broadheads in there and sharp. A tarp. Toilet paper. This is my thermocell. This keeps the bugs away. Extra thermocell parts. A lot of people I'm sure are familiar with these. They do a great job, and they don't spook deer away either. So I highly recommend one of these. My grunt tube. Just put a little stealth strip on the outside, but that's my grunt tube. I carry with me a little bit of extras. Parachute cord in here, zip ties in here. I've got some extra stealth strips. I've got some serving material. I've got some extra BCY D-loop material, and a lighter too for like melting ends and threads and stuff like that. Some extra laces for my boots. Belt. Baggies, 2 different size Ziploc bags that I carry snacks in and stuff. I always ditch the packaging on my snacks and put them in these because they're quieter. These are like the leg straps for my saddle. That other Vortex bino harness that I was talking about that I don't like because it bounces around on your chest. You know, it's elastic, so I've tried strapping it down with something or putting a carabiner in between these to try and settle the movement a little bit, but I still wasn't satisfied with that. Pliers for tying on a D-loop if I have to, if something happens to my D-loop. This is that cord for the Mathew Silent Connect that I was talking about. This is new to me this year. This is the Wurkkos TS32. This thing is 13,000, goes up to 13,000 lumens, which is a lot, you know, for tracking deer at night after the shot. The reason that I got this is not because it goes up to 13,000 lumens. I'd probably run it at 5, but it's because of the high color rendering index that it provides. So this thing will show red blood at night, whereas like a white LED with a cool color rendering index will show like, it'll look more black. You won't be able to see the true color. So this will just highlight the color of everything in the woods and kind of show you, give you a better idea of, you know, how to track a deer. You'll see brown fur, you'll see red blood, you know, whereas a white LED will kind of wash everything out. So I got this, some extra batteries for this. Always good to have extra batteries. My headlamp, which is a black diamond headlamp that I got at REI. I got an extra battery from this, which I ordered yesterday actually, you know, so it's got rechargeable batteries as well. Always good to have extra batteries, so I'll have one charged at all times and one in the headlamp. And then this little case that I got from Harbor Freight, just to keep everything in one spot. I'm gonna go through my kill kit real quick, what I keep in there and why. This is a Wurkkos field knife sharpener. Always good to have a knife sharpener. This has fine, medium. It has a little ceramic rod and the strop all in one. This is a little saw. I don't know if this is right or not, but this is the way my cousin taught me how to field dress a deer. And we use this to get up into the sternum to get easier access to the esophagus. And then this is my skidding knife. This is a Benchmade Hidden Canyon Hunter. Works pretty good. Keep it nice and sharp. Now the reason that I have these little orange tabs on there is because this is brown and I lost this in the leaves when I was gutting a deer. I couldn't find it and it took me forever to find this. This one's orange, so I don't have a tag on it. The green one, the HME one that I had last year, I lost in the leaves. Hence putting all these orange tabs on, you know, making it easier to find. This is a fillet knife. Once again, not sure if this is right, but this is what my cousin taught me on how to remove around the rectum of the deer. Makes it nice and easier. It's really long, you can get in there, clean around, pull everything out really nice. I keep some extra parachute cord in case I have to hold some quarters out of the way or something like that to give me better access. Keep my tags in here. Got some unused tags here. Wipes, always cool to have wipes, you know, if you want to wipe your hands off afterwards or anything. I'll probably keep some rubber gloves in here as well. I also keep a little bit of reflective tape for tracking and a couple other odds and ends of the compass. That's it for the kill kit. I hunt in a minivan. It's what I found works for me best. I have a pickup truck, but I like the minivan because I can keep all my shit secure in there. You know, it's got a car alarm. I didn't feel real safe about keeping all this expensive equipment in the back of a pickup truck cab, you know, where somebody could just open up that latch pretty easily. I also like to change into my gear in the minivan. It keeps everything where I have access to it without having to go to the back of the truck to get it. And I can sleep back there, you know. So I go on a lot of hunts where I sleep in the back of the minivan. Because what's the point of getting a hotel if you're just gonna, you know, go to bed after dinner and get up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning and get back out to the woods. So I keep this Nemo sleeping pad with me. This is just an inflatable sleeping pad in my sleeping bag when I go hunting, and that way I can just sleep in the back of the van if I need to. And if I get a deer, I drag it out of the woods in this. I've modded this out with some rivets and just some strap material, some webbing material. So I can tie, if I've got a deer that's bigger than this thing, I can tie the antlers out of the way. I can tie legs in this to keep it all contained while I drag it out of the woods. Now this thing doesn't work that great early season because it doesn't pull that well on grass. So if I'm going early season, I usually bring this carp with me too. So this is a roto molded cooler, just like a Yeti. I saw reviews online where this thing was tested against Yeti and actually tested equal or better to a Yeti. The only difference is that I got this thing for $110. My boots that I use are my Crispy Summit GTX, I believe. I've had these since my first year hunting. They're still in great shape. They're just a little dirty from doing some scouting this summer. These are Buck Boot Arctic Pros, insulated rubber boots. These are great for the winter when it gets colder. Even into mid-season, I wear these as well. I got some Frog Togs hip waders for, sometimes I'll strap these onto my backpack in case I got to cross a stream or something. I can throw these on, get across the stream, throw my other boots on the other side, and keep going. This is new to me this year, but I've been shooting with it a lot. I like a wrist strap release for hunting. The reason being is because when I missed at least one of the bucks that I shot at, I was using this handheld release. Now this thing's a lot less forgiving when you're in the moment and you have to operate it. This is one of the most difficult releases to operate properly. So, you know, I just kind of saw that animal in front of me and, you know, my brain said rip the shot. I ripped it and I missed. So this style release is a little more forgiving. I feel like if I ripped this release, it would hit at least closer to where I was aiming. So it's more forgiving in that sense. I modded this out with little stealth strips because this head, I don't want that clanging on anything. I also like the fact that this release is on my arm ready to go. So if I'm walking to the stand and I see a deer, I have this right where I have access to it. I don't have to fumble for it in my pocket. If I'm going up the tree, I can just tuck that in there. Seems to work. Why I really like this release is because it's a 2-sear release. So unlike other index releases where it's a 1-sear where you kind of like pull that trigger back and it creeps until it goes off, this has no trigger creep. This you set like a handheld release and it clicks, and when you put enough tension on it, it pops, you know. So this is really crisp release. It doesn't have any creep to it at all. It operates a lot like this one does. All right, that's it for me taking you through my 2023 mobile setup. I wish I would have started this channel a few years ago because I would have loved to take you guys on my journey as I take some of this stuff out into the woods and switched out some of my inferior gear that I started with for some of this more refined setup after watching other people's content and learning and growing and taking you guys along with my failures and my successes. But you know, never too late to start. I hope this was helpful for somebody, and good luck this year.